Good morning, Facebook family and friends. Good morning. It is yet another glorious Sunday morning in the year 2022. And guess what? We have made it to July of 2022. Can you imagine this? We are in the 7th month of this year. Time is moving so quickly, it appears. And so I'm so excited to be able to say that I'm here and I'm living and I'm breathing and I'm sharing this time with you. It's so funny when I started out this morning and I got on just a little early to make sure everything was correct. And my computer just shut down. When I came back, you all were still here. But it's just amazing that I said, God, thank you for causing me to start off early so that I can have everything ready and that we could really start close to time as possible. So I'm appreciative of that. If something happens during the time period, then we'll just continue to move forward. The other thing that I want to say I'm excited about is I didn't panic. And I want to say that to you. That is a testimony for me because usually I get impatient and it would have thrown me off, but I didn't panic. Shut it down, started it back up, and let's get out here and have these conversations this morning. So thank you all so much for hanging in there with me. And I know that I see some people out there. Those may not have said it, have said good morning yet. So if you are there, give me a good morning so I know that you're present. And we'll just continue to move forward. God bless you on this morning. Hey, Dr. Perry's in the house. Janet Coates King. Oh my gosh. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, Deborah Derrickson. How are you? Deborah Long is in the house there. Kathleen Collins is here. How are you? Hey, Dr. Catherine Brown. What's going on? And I know others are out there because I see you posting there and I see that you're on. And so we're just going to get started with this new series. Good morning to you. I don't know who MMC is, but good morning to you. Hey, Lady Carol, how are you this morning? Amen. Okay, so what we're going to do is continue to move forward. We have a new series that we're starting, and the new series is we're going to be talking about 70, 12, 3. And some of you probably already figured out what the 70, 12, 3 series is going to be about. But for those who don't know it, let's hang in here with me because we're setting the foundation today, and we'll be diving into those scriptures a little bit more on the following Sundays. So for this session, just want to talk to you about 70, 12, 3. We've been talking about the takeover. That was a couple months ago. Then we talked about spiritual acquisitions and mergers. It was a great series. And that was on last month. But now that we're in the space, now that you're in the place that God has predestined for you, you're occupying the land. It is time to disciple people. So yes, this is time to disciple people. This is a time to do team building. This is a time to really develop that tribe and understand what your groups look like to you. And those people who are helping you move the needle, move the agenda, move the ministry, move the business, whatever those things that you're doing, helping you, shaping you, and supporting you in your endeavors that God has predestined for you to do. So you may be the person who is the sphere of influence. And then also you may be being influenced by others. And you need to know if you're a part of the 70, a part of the 12, or a part of the 3. I need to make sure that you understand that. So that's the angle we're coming from, is you're a part of the 70, is you're part of the 12, or you're a part of the 3. Now the 70, some of the 70 may be in the 12. Some of the 70 may be in the 3. But all of the 70 can't be in the 12 and can't be in the 3 because of the number. That's just an obvious. But the 12 could be a part of the 70, and the 3 could be a part of the 12 and the 70. All right? Y'all pick that one up. But what's important is to understand the placement of people who are in your life, and then for you to know where you stand in other people's lives. Okay? And I'm talking about you influencing people, discipling people, team building, creating tribes and squads and crews and whatever those things may be that we're putting labels on. This is just some updated terminology. Jesus called them disciples. Why? Because he was teaching them how to go out and do the business that the Father had assigned for him to do. Hear me when I say that. I'm going to repeat it. Jesus called them disciples. He was teaching them how to go out and do business. Do the business that God has called me to do. All right. He was teaching them to duplicate his actions, to repeat what he had learned, to repeat what he had put into play. And a lot of times, many of us operate as islands unto ourselves, and God has never called us to operate as islands unto ourselves. He never asked for us to do it all. So if you are a person who's trying to do it all, you are not aligned with the word of God. You need to understand that you're not in alignment. I don't care how you can candy coat it. You can spiritualize it if you want to. You are not aligned. Jesus came in 100% man, 100% God, and still called disciples. 70, 12, 3. Keep those numbers in your mind. Keep those numbers in your mind, because that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be dealing with that today. But first is laying the foundation. It is important for you to look at your circle. You are now in places. If you've been walking with us, if you've been hanging in here with us, you're now been put into places where you've taken over. You've acquired some things. You're merging with some people. It is now time for your influence to show up. Now, this is a term that's being used a lot in the virtual space. Who's the influencer? Who's somebody who can influence? Let me just say this to you. Jesus was, to me, the number one he set the bar high. Jesus was the true influencer. Jesus influenced, he's still influencing folks. So that's why we're going to use his model. Whoever may have a different model out there, I'm not using that model because Jesus has proven the fact that he set the bar and he set it high. Okay, so he is the top influencer. So we're going with him. We're going to go with his model. And so we're going to talk about the 70, we're going to talk about the 12, and we're going to talk about the 3. All right. So before we get going, we're going to get some more shout outs there because I see you all have joined in there. Okay. So MLC is Sarah Davis. Good morning. Thank you so much. I didn't know who that was, but now I know. Hey, Sarah Davis, how are you this morning? All right, Yvette Robinson's gotten in here. Hey, Constance, how are you? Hey, Debbie Keener, how are you doing? Pastor Andre Chrisman, Judge Andre Chrisman. I can't wait to say it. Can't wait to say it. Hey, Yvette Jones, how are you? Wanda Ware is in the house. All right. Okay. So we're going to talk about this, like I said, this whole entire month. We will be talking about the 70, the 12, and the 3. And what's important is to understand the placement of the 70, the placement of the 12, and the placement of the 3. You're going to always have people in your life. Hear me when I say this. People in your life who are outliners. They're the people who are on the outside rim. Okay, you may connect with them. You may spend time with them on a regular basis, but maybe you're not as intimate with them as you would be with the 12 and the 3. And you need to identify who are those 70. So these are homework assignments for you before we really dive into this. So the 70 are people who you influence. It could be people that's on your job. It could be people that maybe you interact with at your places where you shop or do business, where you're doing transactions. So are people that's in your business that you may employees. They may be people that you supervise. So I'm talking about some people that you may go to church with. Some people you may be in an organization with. You have an influence on them, some sort of influence on them, but they don't come to your house. Okay, you don't go to dinner with them. You don't hang out with them. They don't know about your personal life. They may know a little bit about you, but they don't know a lot about you. That's good right there. They may know a little bit about you, but they don't know a lot about you. Those are the persons who are in your 70. These people are important. They are so important to your ministry. They're important to your business. They're important to your mandate. They're important in your life, even though you may not interface with them on a regular basis. Don't leave them out there by themselves. Don't ignore them. Don't treat them like they're second-class citizens. It's very important that you understand that the 70 are the people who are their larger number. So they're going to reach the masses sooner. They're going to reach the masses in a greater way. Why? Because there's more of them. And why am I saying taking my time with this is because whatever message and whatever testimony and however you appear to them, however you operate with them, that's the message that they're going to take out to the rest of the world about you. And you say, well, I don't really care what people say about me. We're not talking about what people say about you and you caring about it. What we're talking about is gaining souls. We're talking about winning souls. We're talking about team building. We're talking about making an impact. We're talking about thy kingdom, let thy will be done in this earth as it is in heaven. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in this earth as it is in heaven. We're talking about kingdom building. We're talking about being kingdom citizens in the earth. We're not talking about your agenda. We're not talking about your ego. We're talking about God's kingdom being done in the earth as it is in heaven. And in order for it to get done, you've got to be a spirit of influence. You've got to be an influencer. And then you have to know how to influence the different categories in your life, in your world. So the first one we're going to start with is the 70. And we'll pick that up on next Sunday. But I'm trying to lay the foundation so you get your mind ready for how we're going to interface. So the first thing is you got to categorize them. So there are 70. Now, there may be more than 70 in your group. There may be less than 70 in your group, but that's the masses. And you got to know how to interface with the masses. These are the people that you have little interaction with. It's not a whole lot of interaction with them, but you have a little interaction with them, but you still influence them. You can still impact them. But you need to know how to interface with them. You can't treat everybody the same. And then people need to understand that. Because I know for my own self, sometimes people get offended because they thought they were part of the 12 and they thought they were part of the 3. But from my perspective, they were part of the 70. And it's okay that you're part of the 70. I'm a part of the 70 in some people's world. I'm not part of the 12 and 3. I don't go to your house. We don't sit. We don't kick it. We don't talk every day. We don't hang out all the time. And that's okay. I'm good with that. But you can influence me and I can help move the needle. I can help carry the ball. I can help carry the message. And that's what we have to understand when we talk about disciples. Jesus called all of them. Listen to this. Jesus called all of them disciples. He didn't change their terms. He didn't change their label. He didn't change their love. He didn't change his way he interacted with them, how he approached them. But what he did was their assignments were different. Their tasks were different. And how he interfaced with them and the amount of time he interfaced with them, that's what changed. So look at your tribe. Look at your circle. Some of us need to widen it. Some of us don't have 70. We only have 3. Let me tell you something. When we get to the 3, you'll wear your 3 out. That's why you got to get 70. You need a larger group, and especially if you know that the ministry that God has given to you is greater than your 4 walls. Now, if your ministry is just your home ministry, your family, that's fine. Then spend the time with your family. But if you know that God has called you, which all of us have been called to go beyond our home, can I tell you that all of us have been called to go beyond our home? Because he told us to go in the highways and the byways and compel them to come. He told us to go into the Samaria and to the uttermost parts of the earth, the Judea and the uttermost parts of the earth. He's already given to us that in the scriptures. So it's got to be beyond our home, beyond our address. You've got to go down your street. You've got to go to places that you are interfacing with people, and you need to influence them about God. You need to share with them about God. So we've got to get people to help us carry the message. We cannot afford as believers to hold on to this and hold to it tightly. Let me get some more hellos in there. Hey, my godmother's out there. Hey, Letty Giles. Brenda North, what's going on? How are you? Hey, Vera Crampers jumped in here. Hey, Erica, how are you doing? Helen Burns is in the house. Elder Beatrice is here. And Terry Nelson has made it. Woo-hoo. Hey, she was talking about grace last week. Boy, that was powerful. I love that one. Okay, so that's the first thing we want to lay down the foundation, the 70, the 12, and the 3. So the 70 are those persons that you may spend some contact with. You influence them. They follow you. They're a part of you, but maybe they don't spend a lot of time with you. Let's talk about the 12. The 12 spent a lot of time with Jesus. The 12 spent a lot of time with Jesus. And as a matter of fact, those are the ones who continued on, a majority of them continued on out after he left. Okay. So the 12, this is important when we get to the 12, and you could already start on this. So the 12 had different occupations. We got a chance to learn a little bit more about them, right, in their writings. So because many of them wrote about their experiences with Jesus because they got a little closer to him. And we found out about their occupations. This is important. And I'm going to slow this part down because I want you to understand about the 12, because we'll pick it up again. But this is very, very, very key. Very key. When you start dealing with your 12, you need to really talk about team building, and you need to know who's on your team. Because a lot of times we have people on our team that are all strong in one area, and most of them are weak in the same area because we're running with like-minded people, right? And that's okay, but it does not give you a good mix. You don't have a good mix. And when you don't have a good mix, then the challenges are not as strong as they can be. And you need to be challenged because remember, iron sharpens iron, so shall a man sharpen another. So you need some iron sharpening, not only each other, but also you. You need to be sharpened. So if you only have people in your group in that 12 that don't challenge you to be better, don't challenge you to be, to do better, don't bring in a wealth of knowledge, then you have to consider, that you may need to maybe swap out some people that's in your 12. What do I mean by that? Okay, so Jesus had some fishermen. He had a tax collector. He even had a Judas, somebody he knew was going to betray him. And we're going to talk about those characters. We're going to talk about all those characteristics. But he had those people in. He had carpenters in there. So he grew up as a carpenter, fisherman. He had tax collectors. Somebody knew how to deal with money. Okay, somebody that was going to betray him, that didn't really love him. So those persons were there with him. Why is that important to understand? So when you get ready to go out, when you get ready to do something, wouldn't it be nice if you had an accountant that was a friend of yours, or at least somebody knew was good with money, that you could say, hey, take a look at this? Well, if you're a writer, somebody who knows how to edit correctly, knows how to spell, that you understand what I'm saying, that you could go to and say, can you check, can you look this, can you do an overview, review this for me? Somebody that knows how to do business. You need that. You need a prayer warrior. You need somebody that knows how to pray. Somebody knows how to praise. You had a faith walker with you. So you need to look at who's in that circle, that 12, that group that's closer to you. And you need to start doing some checkoffs to see who these people are, because you're going to be spending time with them. Not as much time as the 3, but you're spending a lot of time with these people. And this is the group that you can let your hair down. Okay, a little of your hair down with. You should be able to be a little truer, the truer you. Okay, not just that spiritual you, not just the one that you show up at church with. That person, not the person that you show up at your job, not the person that you show up with your organization, but you're a little bit about you, that human side of you. But you need some people around you that can help you be better. Somebody that you can pick up the phone, that if you say, how do you spell a certain word, they don't ridicule you and then carry that out. They don't expose you, but they cover you. So your 12 are people who are going to cover you and not expose you. You need to put that out there. Hey, Brenda Marshall Robinson, how are you? Elsie White has gotten in here. All right. So the 12, okay, are 12 are people who are going to cover you and not expose you. The 70, check this out. The 70 may expose you. So the 70 you don't let your hair down with. Hey, Kim, how are you, girl? So the 70 may expose you. So you don't have that 12. That 70, you know, that's the one that you just interface with, you influence, you give them a message, you tell them what you want them to know, so that they can go out and carry that message out there. And let me pivot right there. Y'all put this out there. Listen to this on the 70. That 70, you give them the message you want them to know. Okay, you don't tell them everything. 70, you don't tell everything to. 70, you give them the message you want to know, because they're gonna tell everybody about you. Okay, the 12, you can get a little bit more transparent with them, a little bit more vulnerable with them. Okay, but you need to know who's in your circle, and they need to be at least. Listen to this. Their maturity level needs to be close to your maturity level or greater. 12. Their maturity level needs to be at least at your level or greater. Because the people who are not as mature as you, if they're in your circle at that 12, will expose you because they don't know how to cover yet. So they need to be in the 70 where you're influencing them. And then once they get to the maturity level, they can come closer. So, well, Misha, how do I know if they're doing it and mature enough? When you give them something to do, when you share with them, how do they carry it? Do they cover you, or do they carry your word out? Do they repeat what you said, or are they, or do they come back? They come back a little different. Do you hear your business out in the street? They need to stay in the 70. They need to stay out there in the 70. You don't get rid of them. You keep them away. That's why I say, hey, crew, I'm with you. You don't get rid of the 70, but you just keep them in the 70. And some people are in your 12 that you don't trust, and they're in your 12. The 12 you got to trust. But if they're in your 12 and you don't trust them, they need to be swapped out. They need to move to the 70. They shouldn't even be close to you. If I've been with some people that, listen, they turned on me too quick. They carried, I heard my story. Before I got a chance to tell my story, I heard it. Let me swap you out. Doesn't mean I don't love you. Doesn't mean I'm not with you. Doesn't mean I can't hang with you. But I'm gonna have to put you in the 70. I'm gonna have to push you out just a little bit further out. Okay. Let me get this one too. The 12 should be people who either are faith walkers or living by faith. They may not be at the same faith level that you are. There's different degrees of faith. But if you are a faith walker, they need to be operating in faith. Fearful folks, I'm talking about people who live by fear, cannot be a part of your 12. If you have fearful people in your 12, you need to swap them out. They need to grow. Faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. They can be in your 70, and you need to influence them through the word of God. You give them the word so they can grow, and they may need to come. They can come back later, and it's okay. Remember, I said that to you all before. You can always go back and bring them back later. You can always circle back, but you need to make sure that you understand that the 12 had to be different. The 12 looks different than the 70. They were all called disciples. All called disciples. The 12, 70, 12. All right. So this is good. I'm glad you all are picking these things up, picking them up, because this is key. We got homework to do. When we look at our tribe, we look at our circle, look at people who we're working with, we're walking with. All right. Now let's talk about the 3 very quickly, and then we're going to set ourselves up for the rest of this month. So the 3 are those people you spend all your time with, a lot of time with. I'm talking about a lot of time with. There were 3 that Jesus could just lean on. He knew when he operated, whatever he said, they were just going to do. Okay. They ran with him. It's not that they agreed with everything, because they had to be developed as well. But there were 3 that he just knew. All right. And those 3, we already know that those 3 disciples that he depended on a lot, that he called on a lot to do certain things. They had bought into the vision. They were there. They loved him. One even put their head in his chest because he just loved him so much. He looked up to him, and he believed in what he had to say. Okay. So you have to understand that the 3 need to believe the vision that God has for you. Those 3. The 12, they should believe it as well. However, it's a little different in the belief. These are the people that you share those dreams with, those intimate time with. When I say intimate, you all know I'm not talking about a relationship and romance. I'm talking about being intimate with them. Those 3 that you could pull around. Those are the 3 that if you had a slumber party as an adult, they would come over. Did you all hear that? You could have a slumber party with them. As an adult, they can come over. They can see your house. They can see the dust in your corners. They can see the cobwebs in your corners. They can see that everything is not always right, and it's okay. They don't judge you. They don't put you down. They don't ridicule you. As a matter of fact, they cover you. They wrap around you. They'll come over and get the broom and start sweeping and mopping and vacuuming and wiping down, because they want to see you be the best. Those are the 3 that you can hang with. They can say to you, hey, listen, you got lipstick on your teeth, or hey, listen, you got something in your nose. Those are the people that you keep close to you. They don't mind telling you that you're not always right. And everybody needs a 3. So everybody needs 3. Okay. I'm just saying that to you, because so it's just like a table. You don't, those three, you just need 3 of them to hold you up. 4 is good, but you definitely need the 3. 2 is not as stable. And a lot of times the reason why we're not able to forge forward in ministry and in business and in organizations and in our goals and our objectives and in life and decision making and critical thinking is because when we look at our 3 is, we got wobbly 3. The 3 legs that are holding us up are not strong. They're not sturdy. Some of us only have 2. When we lost one, we didn't replace it. You've got to replace that 3. You've got to replace that. You need 3 legs to hold you up. You need them. We got the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. But you need 3 that are in person. You need 3 physical people. And if you ask the Lord to show you who those persons are, God will reveal them to you, and they will show up on time. You show up on time. I guarantee you. Because one is going to always be doing something, and the other 2 can always step in. And again, this is critical. The 3 should come from, check this out, the 12 and not the 70. The 3 can be a part of the 70. The three will be a part of the 70. The 3 will be a part of the 12. But there are 3. Because life is going to get challenging the more you trust God. Hear me did you just hear that? Life will be more challenging to your flesh, the more that you trust God. The more that you step out in faith, your flesh will be challenged. And you've got to have some flesh people. You got to have some humans who are walking this walk with you that are willing to tell you that your flesh is showing up and not your faith. That's what those 3 are for. Hey, I see your flesh. I don't see your faith. Or they may say, hey, I'm championing your faith, and I'm glad to see that your flesh is not alive. I'm glad to see your flesh didn't lead, that your faith led. And you need those people in your life. Check this out as well. You need to be a part of somebody's 3, where you can be that person. When you're at this level in life, when you've been walking by faith and not by sight, when you've been acquiring, you've been merging, and when you've been going on and you've been possessing the land and you've been stepping out of the boat, when you've been doing these things as well, you need to be a part of somebody's 3 as well, where you feel confident enough to share with somebody when they're not doing right. We owe it to each other to make sure that we are well. We owe it to each other to make sure that we're presenting Christ in the best light, in the best way. Because at the end of the day, it's not about you. It's not about me. It's not about our ego, but it's about God being glorified, about soul business, winning souls. And we need to make sure we're holding each other accountable. So we'll be dealing with the 70, the 12, and the 3. Hey, I got you, crew. I got you. I'm here with you. That's what we're talking about today. Hey, I'm here with you. That's what we're telling. Hey, I'm with you, crew. That's what we're dealing with. Hey, I'm with you, crew. That was what this is for, so that you understand your crew, what's going on with you. All right, so we will be moving into this. I can't wait. Let me tell you, it's probably maybe one of my favorite series that we'll do, and I hope that we get it done. We may be pulling it into the next month as well. So I look forward to talking with you, engaging you. Remember, it's time to assess who your 70 are, your 12 and your 3. 70, 12, and 3. And you need to make sure you have a 3. You can need a 3. You need the 3 because you're going to wear them other 2 out if you don't have them. And we want to make sure that we have those 3. All right. So as we forge forth this month, we're doing that 70, 12, 3 series. And we're going to talk about being disciples. We're going to talk about team building. Who's a part of your team? Who's a part of your crew? And we're going to make sure that whatever we're doing, that we are delivering souls to the kingdom of God and that we're bringing people into the fold. And we're going to do it so that God will get the glory out of our earthen vessel. I look forward to hanging out with you and to being with you at Conversations at 7 a.m. with Misha Maynard. Thank you all so much for joining in. Remember that your voice is valuable and your voice is powerful. Go out and make it a great day. Bye-bye. Thank you.